Hi, I'm Shane Schick for Computer World Canada. Open source has obviously had a huge impact on businesses because it allows a lot more flexibility around what you can do with software and how you can tap into the development community to improve it. The downside has been the potential legal risks some executives associate with the business model. It didn't help when SCO once sued IBM and a number of other companies for allegedly violating its intellectual property. Then, just last month, a US federal appeals court ruled that open source is in fact subject to copyright law. To get some understanding around this, Computer World Canada recently spoke with Michael Tiemann. He was originally the Chief Technology Officer for Red Hat Software, but lately he's been going by the title of Vice President of Open Source Affairs. This is how Tiemann explained how companies should deal with copyright in an increasingly open source world.
Hello, I'm Michael Tiemann. I'm President of the Open Source Initiative and Vice President of Open Source Affairs at Red Hat. I've been doing open source software since 1989, and at that time I can tell you the uptake was very slow. But the beauty of this exponential growth rate is that every year I see it broader and faster, and we still have a long way to go. Today it is estimated that $1 trillion is spent worldwide on IT in hardware, software, and services. Open source is still a small fraction of that, but it is rapidly gaining currency in terms of its enterprise capabilities and also its ability to help cut cost. Okay. One of the things that I think is holding back open source adoption is quite simply proprietary vendor lock-in. The proprietary vendor lock-in strategy has been extremely effective at limiting choice and forcing people to re-up on systems they know now are legacy systems not ready for the 21st century. And so one of our challenges is that. Another challenge is basically anytime you bring in something new, you have to develop competencies at all levels. And what we have seen is that people who are coming out of college today have much greater familiarity. That familiarity is translating further and further up the enterprise. One other thing that I think has helped bring Red Hat, for example, as a company, to a level of prominence, being listed on the New York Stock Exchange and also having our software running the New York Stock Exchange, is the fact that CEOs at the top have observed the competitive benefits of open source. And they are the ones who are asking their CIOs, hey, what can open source do for me? I think that the universality of open source is a bit predicated on the model, which is that because other people can download it, examine the code, and make their own criticisms, it's a little bit like the ubiquity of science. Anybody can have their own theory, but the ability to independently produce a result and the ability to independently contribute it is what connects scientists around the world. And I think that we're going to see that same effect, that we're going to create a software reality not based on marketing hype, but based on code that can be observed, it can be downloaded, and it can be shared and independently verified. For me, one of the most exciting developments in the world of open source is that national governments have taken a national interest in direct participation in the open source model. We have seen countries like Sweden and Norway and the Netherlands. We've seen countries like Japan and India taking specific interest in adopting open source and in many cases relative to procurement, preferring open source when available because they believe that it protects national software sovereignty. And so it's really, really exciting when the government of Australia sees that using open source software is a way of promoting their own indigenous software industry and a way of ensuring that the government maintains sovereignty over public applications.